let's talk Four Nations. People are angry, which we kind of expected. But let's just go through the 4 teams and just kind of talk about like the highlights. Who do you think was snubbed? Who do you think got in that maybe shouldn't have? And we'll start with the team that it's weird. Probably the best team on paper that Finland has had, except we've talked about this ad nauseum, Z. Their blue line's terrible. It's bad. It's really bad.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong. Like, there's been people that have like argued with me on Twitter saying like, this is like the best blue line they've ever had. I'm like, what are you looking at? Like, yes, Heiskanen's the best defenseman they've ever had. There's 5 other guys that have to play the game.
Yeah.
They've got Olli Mata projected to be his pairing mate. Come on.
Yeah, and I mean the fact that like their extra on the back end is Yanni Hakanpää. I don't think he's played a game yet, and they weren't even sure he was going to play at all this year. Which I mean, by the way, we'll have a similar type of discussion when we bring up Sweden. But like, yeah, I mean, the one thing that you can say is like Lindell has just gotten better defensively. Even Ristolainen's made big time like steps forward in his defensive game, like since getting to Philly. But I mean, it's pretty much like, hey, we might be icing Miro Heiskanen for like 38 minutes a night here, and Dallas will be also losing their mind, probably watching that. And I mean, yeah, they'll be okay, but as far as like those 4 teams, they are significantly fourth.
Well, but I would say with goaltending and with the forward group, like they're not really far off. Like it's the blue line that does it for me. The blue line is their problem. Outside of that, they've actually got like a surprisingly good team. Yeah. Although it's weird that in their depth chart here, they've got Mikael Granlund on the first line. It's a little jarring for me. I know he's had a solid year. It's just funny to me.
Yeah, especially when like, I mean, I'm looking at the Athletics. Is that what you have up?
Yeah.
And Teravainen's sitting right there. Patrick Laine likes playing left wing.
It's very weird.
Fucking Granlund. Well, Granlund's been good this year for San Jose. He's put up good numbers.
Well, whenever he's played for a team that I care about, he's not good enough. So
I still that fucking. I'm not gonna bring it up. Sorry.
Yeah.
The Pittsburgh thing is just crazy.
I'm just glad Hall of Famer got on for you.
That was the most important thing that happened.
That end line, eh? End line, eh?
Yeah, hell yeah. But anytime that something good happens involving the Hall of Famer, I'm having at least an okay day. It turns my day around if I'm having a bad one. So shout out the Hall of Famer for getting on. And that fourth line that they have, again, this is just the Athletic. Who knows what the lines are actually going to look like? But
sure,
the Hall of Famer with Lundell and Luostarinen, that could be a pain in the fucking
Athletic doesn't have that. They've got him as the fifth, the odd man out.
Oh, so we definitely have different articles up then.
Oh, I literally have the Athletic article that says Finland announces roster for 4 nations, snubs, surprises, and expectations, and it's got like the whole depth chart.
Yeah, I've got the ranking the 4 nation face-off roster stuff. Okay.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So maybe it's different then. Whatever, doesn't matter. But I think this is the one roster where like I don't think there's any snubs or surprises. Like this is kind of what you expected.
Yeah, nothing really jumped out that I was like, what? So
yep. So yeah, we can kind of move off them pretty quick. But I will say their depth down the middle is freaking insane. You got Sasha Barkov, Sebastian Aho, not the defenseman, Rupe Hintz, Anton Lundell, and you got Hall of Famer if you need him. That's an awesome center lineup.
Yeah. And I mean, you've got other guys in there that have played center before, which is like, this will come up when we talk about.
Yeah, Patrick Laine.
He can play anywhere. Goal. Yeah.
He played center. He did.
Wherever he wants to.
All right. Next up, I think we got to go with Sweden. This is the roster that I would say is like very, very balanced. Like it's just like
it's classic
roster.
Sweden. It's just like I mean, we talk about this with the World Juniors, with the U18s, with like any event. Like they have such a well balanced lineup, like up and down, where you've got like the big dogs, but like their depth is really, really good too. And there's a bunch of good two-way players.
Dude, our boy Carlo, who jumped on for a little bit of our draft coverage this year, covers Vegas largely, but he all NHL guy. He basically said his dream scenario is that William Karlsson scores a goal that's assisted by Erik Karlsson and Leo Carlsson.
yeah, that's good.
But this is I'm trying to think here, man. Like, I don't think there's any crazy snubs, especially based on how people are currently playing. The one that I think you could definitely like argue for would be like a Hampus Lindholm, right? Like maybe
especially
not
since apparently they don't give a fuck about the injuries.
Right.
Lindholm's injury is bad though; it's really bad.
But
he's been out.
Oh, so he's for sure out. Okay, because I think the reason that Brodin's on, and I actually talked to Joe about it on our show before the rosters were announced. I'm like, you got to think strategically. It makes sense to have Brodin as one of your 7 defensemen because you can make changes if someone is legitimately injured. So like. You can't add him later, but you can drop him off and add someone else if he's not ready to go. And there's some people that like think he shouldn't have even been in the lineup, and that's insane to me. It makes zero goddamn sense. Literally the only defenseman in the league that can shut down McDavid, and people are going to say he shouldn't be on Team Sweden.
Yeah, I mean, like, in one of the, especially just given the health thing, you can understand the argument as far as like, one of the extras is Rasmus Anderson, who's having the year that he's having in Calgary. And he's just a solid fucking player all around. But but it's so like, so this, again, the article that I have up ranking the Four Nations roster, the third pair that they projected is Brodin and Karlsson. And like, it's so funny because of course, like it's as Brodin has like a bad injury and this is like, post Achilles Erik Karlsson, where I was like, can you imagine if they were both healthy
at the like top form?
The skating, they would be on the ice for 40 minutes. They would be
would literally like
Chuck minus the killing people.
In tandem, they would be doing reverse figure eights around people.
Karlsson's packing a lip. Karlsson has an absolute fucking hammer in his mouth.
Dude, I love too that like Middleton is obsessed with him. Rightfully so. Like he owes the guy a lot, but he's like, yeah, I don't know why people think he's not good because fucking is. But we got 3 Minnesota guys on the team. We got Eck, Brodin, and Gustafsson, 2 of which probably won't play.
2 of them people are really going to be pissed if they actually end up playing because they're injured. I mean, like, whatever. Eric's next week to week, I guess. But even so, like, he's had a few injuries this year, so it's like, and that one looks scary. I don't know what it is. I didn't actually look into it today, but like the one last night there. Was it 2 nights ago? It was a weird play that he ended up just like going right and like did not look good. Yeah, he was also playing like an absolute psycho the other night.
Sounds like a lot of nights.
That was also. It's always good to remember that the Vancouver fans are absolutely insane. The amount of anger and like the weirdest replies. When I posted the video of Eriksson Ek just deleting Kiefer Sherwood, I should actually just like post all of them. They're insane. Like the replies that I was getting. But anyways, we can move on.
Well, so 2 things I need to touch on. There is actually a set of players that I would have liked to see on this lineup over a couple others. They're teammates. They're both really young. It's Zetterlund and Eklund. I think that these are guys that have a chance to be on the Olympic squad in a year definitely long term like going to be part of the Swedish stuff. I just don't think they've got like the youth tapped into on here outside of Leo Carlson. Like, you know what I mean? Like it feels like you'd want to have some younger guys for a tournament like this, especially if you're going to have an extra forward. Like I would have had them over Arvidsson for sure. And like, I think Gus Nyquist is a good player. He hasn't been a good player this year.
Yeah.
But the one that, hand up, I'm an idiot, I guess. There is a player on this roster who I very, very much enjoy that I didn't know was Swedish. Take a guess. We'll see if you can remember which Swedes I've talked about. So there's actually a lot that I like, but this is one that like.
Jesper Bratt?
No.
I was just going off the name. Just doesn't sound. Actually, Jesper, I'm an idiot. Adrian
Kempe.
Oh, I was going to bring up him too.
I had no idea that he was Swedish. That just for whatever reason, Adrian Kempe just doesn't scream Sweden to me. And being a stud, like no shit goal scorer doesn't scream Sweden to me either.
I am obsessed with the fact because he's got the same vibe. Him and Nylander hanging out is going to be so funny. The two most negative 87 give a fuck meter level guys that are just absolutely filthy at hockey. I love that they're both favorite Swedes, apparently.
Those are my two favorite Swedes.
Fucking Kempe still has one of my favorites, like Sellies from like I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago. Honestly, I don't remember where they might have been, like in Columbus. Honestly, like he scored and just didn't take a single stride, just like glided with his stick up like just barely over his shoulder, staring at the fans, and it was like 10 seconds where he was just like staring at everyone, no smile, no nothing. Just staring at everybody, and I was like, "That rocks." He's the coolest guy in the world.
That rocks pretty hard, hard.
But the Eklund thing specifically, like, I just pulled up his numbers this year. Like 23 in 27 is. I would have liked to see him over, like you said, like Nyquist was one guy,
or Arvidsson,
right? He definitely could have found his way onto this roster for sure. It's also just nice seeing him really pop off this year.
Oh, dude, Slippery Pete's the best.
Dude, there have been a lot of people talking about like, hopefully after like a tournament like this, like it's just going to be whatever. It's going to be fun. You're playing with like the best players in kind of from your own country or whatever. Like you hopefully take some momentum into like back in the season, especially for guys that are like struggling or whatever. Like the whole, like this Zibanejad fall off has been insane. Like, have you watched Rangers recently? Like he is. And like the fans are going nuts. Like everyone's like, "Oh, this is horrific."
Dude. They have Panarin playing well, and they have whoever's playing on Panarin's line also playing well.
yeah. I actually want to pull up his actual numbers this year, but like it's like I was watching.
I will say though, dude,
they were playing the Canadiens the other night, and he scored, and I was like, he just still looks like. Ugh.
So I was in the minority too, where like. I did not like the contract they gave him when they gave it to him, not because he's not a good player, because he's a fantastic fucking player when he's on his game. He is a very hot and cold player, like on a crazy level at times. Like he can go on a 10-game heater and then he can go on a 10-game absolute fucking skunker. Like,
yeah, I mean, he's a nightmare defensively.
But we've already talked about this in the Calder discussion. Like dashes don't mean anything.
It's a good point.
Dashes are forever.
Yeah, I mean, like almost half his points his whole career have been like power play, like whatever. Either way, I'm sure that's one guy that like, if there's any truth behind the idea that like maybe this will give guys momentum as they come back to playing with their teams in the NHL again. Like that's one guy, especially like the Rangers are gonna desperately.
There's a lot of guys though that could use that, like him, your boy Elias Lindholm. Elias Pettersson. Like, there's some guys that could use a little bolt. Yeah, Nyquist, Arvidsson, Carlson, the defensive Carlson. Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah,
it's interesting. But okay, let's move on to the one that everyone wants to talk about, and the one that probably has the most controversy around it, per usual. Team Canada. This is the fun one.
Yeah, I mean, I probably got them firmly in second behind the U.S. Like,
I wouldn't say firmly. I think them and Sweden are pretty interesting comparables.
Yeah,
mostly because of the goaltending discrepancy. Like, you can't make up for that.
It's crazy how they just.
What's crazy to me is you could have put a gun to my head and said, you need to give me 3 goalies and at least 2 of them need to be on this roster, and I would have been terrified to give an answer. Because there were 6 guys that all had a real chance to be part of this. I actually am kind of surprised Fleury wasn't included. Kind of.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
honestly,
purely for the vibes and just like what he brings, even like from an off-ice perspective, but also it's 3 fucking goalies. Like,
yeah, the goaltending, the whole thing.
Bennington is slated to be their starter, and that makes me so. If there's a goalie fight at 4 Nations, I'm all in. I will never miss a 4 Nations game again.
Yeah.
Also, Fleury will be like, God fucking damn it.
Yeah.
So what are the ones that stand out to you? Whether it's a player that got in that you're like, what the hell, or a player that got left off that you're like, what the hell?
Well, one of the players that got left off, I was like, oh shit, was Bedard. Honestly, like, especially at an event. Dash? But I mean, Don Sweeney's running the show here, and Connor Bedard is 5'8".
Hey, some people are saying Bedard got snubbed. People like us, we're saying Celebrini got snubbed.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, it's.
I don't love the blue line. Like,
okay. First off,
like I said, I don't love it.
You hate minivans, so that's natural.
I do hate him.
Now, hang on though. Did you had to have seen the interaction between Jay Fresh and some NHL players?
I was gonna bring that up. So Sanheim was the one that really, I feel like that's the one that garnered the most, like, what the fuck? And like, I go back and forth. I get it. Like, he's a solid player.
I think he's solid for a 3rd pairing type guy that's going to be like one of your premier penalty killers, like whatever. But the reaction to the Jay Fresh post made me so happy.
Of course. What's his face?
Joel Farabee?
Joel Farabee replied, just goes, watch a game. Unbelievable. It's just so funny.
That's though, like, honestly, Jay Fresh is fist pumping. He's like, I win. Like, getting an actual NHL player to engage with your analytic opinion means you're doing something right.
Yeah, he did the same thing, except it was like a funny interaction, like not mean. He had like a Calvin DeHaan a couple years ago. But
it's so good.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
The Brayco was like weirder for me, to be honest. I understood it. Like, people knew it was coming, especially because Armstrong's at the helm. But like, I'd rather have Sanheim than Parayko.
Yeah. But like, again, like, just real quick on the Jay Fresh Farabee thing. That's like in the realm of like the really nasty mean. Well, I mean, whatever. Like, nasty, you could maybe not nasty, but like mean.
Is it nasty, or is it
like?
Mean?
Just, I'll go nasty, like another level. I'll go mean. The mean, like, condescending tweets from the like Jay Fresh on Twitter, and then like other like super analytically charged people that like whatever. That was a pretty benign tweet. He's like, am I missing something? Like, what am I missing?
He was like, he was like,
huh, that's weird.
But he was nice. He's like, yeah, he's had a good year, and like I understand. Like, I'm not saying that he's not good enough, but like I think there's other people that should have been in over him.
And that's the one that Farabee comes in hot watching game, bro. That was the other thing I wanted to mention. Was like, it was of all of the tweets that he's thrown out there about bad analytic players, like that was the most benign, non-aggressive one ever. And that was the one that an NHL guy was like, fuck you.
So I'm disappointed though, because he just like replied back and said, I will never watch a game.
It's kind of funny.
No, it would have been funnier if he's like, bro, you haven't seen my post about Konechny yet.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been the move. And Farabee would have spent the next 20 minutes trying to find this post that doesn't exist, saying that Konechny shouldn't be on the team. That's how you win. That's how you do it.
Fair enough.
Farabee. That's bad. We're moving on. Anything else that stands out to you besides Sanheim, Parayko being kind of the obvious ones, goalies being in blender? I think Chris Johnston's exact quote to us when he was talking about it on Fellowship of the Rink this week was like, you know what the blue line's going to look like for the most part. Forwards, like, yeah, there's always going to be snubs there. Goalies, rip a couple shots and just fucking roll the dice. I don't know. Flip a coin. Something's going to happen.
They were like struggling. They were struggling to like think of enough.
Yeah.
Goalies were Sam Montembeau's the extra.
I like the forward group. I do.
Yeah. Well, and finally we're going to get to watch a line combo of Marchand, McKinnon, Crosby. Like we're finally going to get to see that happen, which is going to be so much fun. And
it's
like, it's going to, the fact that you've got Nathan McKinnon there as just, I mean, you freak of Nate. I don't even, whatever you want to describe him as, but like when the last time we had one of these events was the World Cup of Hockey. Was it 2015? And it was Bergeron, Crosby, and Marchand, and they were just doing like ridiculously nasty shit. But then you have McKinnon being McKinnon is like that he was doing what he was doing in the same fucking tournament, like just dancing Lundqvist. That was nuts.
Do you think Marchand will lick Crosby?
He might. I mean, they're all, the three of them are, that's like the funniest like trio of best friends. It's like, it's so funny.
Is Marchand firmly in that group of best friends, or is it like Crosby and McKinnon are best friends and Marchand gets invited a good amount of the time?
I know, like, listening to them talk about their group chat, like, Marchand is just...
Dude, how about Marchand with Biz?
That was so funny.
That was great.
Is just... Of course, and, like, after the first one, like, Duchesne's like, hey, man, like, really good, like, glad you're all right. Meanwhile, like, 3 hours before that, Marchand was like, that's what I look like, the guys that beat the wheels off you. Right?
No. I wanted him to be like, you better not run into me at a restaurant, dude. Like,
so funny. But it was like the first time McKinnon went on Chicklets or whatever, it was so funny listening to him talk about their summer skates and how like insanely competitive it gets. And then he's like, and Marshy's such a little rat. Like he picks his own fucking team. He's just running around chirping everybody the whole time. He's like, he's such a rat. He's like, I love him. He's the best, but god damn it. He's like a little motherfucker.
I would do a lot of things to be able to go and hang out and watch that summer skate.
Dude,
hang out at Crosby's cottage for like a couple days. Like I would empty the bank account.
Like specifically the dynamic that like all three of them are fucking lunatics. Psycho.
In very different ways though.
In very, 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 very different ways.
Yeah.
But like the element that Marchand brings as the class clown is so funny to me that he's just like this little tiny fucking asshole running around nonstop chirping. It's so funny to me. Meanwhile, McKinnon's chirps like, I'll fucking kill your whole family. Getting pissed.
And Crosby says nothing, but he's sitting there thinking worse things.
Silent anger.
Saying.
he's plotting fucking serial killer shit. Yeah.
He's basically sitting there, and in his head, all you see is the clip of the guy from Office Space who wants a stapler.
Yeah, yeah.
That's Crosby's persona.
Oh shit.
Get with it.
You know who
But
it might have been actually
like
one of the
really-
biggest omissions though?
Yeah.
On the back end, like Bouchard.
yeah, but do they need Bouchard?
That's true. That's
Like-
a good
like,
point. McCarr's gonna be
I
out there.
thought
Fucking
the same
yeah.
thing initially, but you look at the roster, like you're basically saying you're going to take out Shea Theodore, probably,
Right.
which I wouldn't do. I think there's other guys that would make sense, like whether it's over Parayko and Sanheim. Like, I think Morrissey should be higher in this. Taves McCarr is a lock. It needs to be. And Theodore should be on that second pair. So I just don't think there's a good spot for him. And Ekholm can't be on his team, so that kind of hurts too.
It's always tough with these two. Like,
yeah.
Because, I mean, we always want, like, immediately you just think of, like, representing your country means, like, you're one of the, whatever the roster size is, that many best players in the country. Like, actually, no, they're literally building out a roster.
Dude,
where it's like, you can't have, like, you literally can't bring only the best player. Like, it's crazy.
For sure. And for me, the one bummer with Fleury not being included, it would have been so fun for Fleury to get one last lick in on Cam Talbot, as like Talbot's actually having like an undercover, like really solid year yet again. And for Fleury to just yank it out from him, but I guess neither of them got in. So whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. But yeah, this one, I guess like there's really good players like Hyman, Tavares, Scheifele. You mentioned Bedard, Celebrini, even more so than Bedard. But there's just redundancies, and like it's for the first, like Canada overthinks with World Junior, but usually with the Olympic teams, it's like, yeah, let's get as much skill in as we possibly can. And I think their bottom six is actually going to be like a lethal, like two-way bottom six. A lot of Lightning players. Shocker.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Weird.
Also, like people are like mad about Hagel being on. Like, I'm sorry, Hagel's been sick.
Hagel's so fucking good.
I'll wave my flag. People got really mad about
nasty.
that trade and said that was like the dumbest thing Tampa did. I loved the trade when it happened, and it's worked out so much better than I even could have imagined. But I was so excited for them when they made that trade. Oh,
he's
been so fun there.
Oh my God, they're at intermission against San Jose. They're up. It's second intermission. It's 7-0 Tampa Bay. Oh my God. Hold on. Wait, pull this up. Let's see who's going on.
He's already dead.
I need to know who on the Sharks is like dash 400 tonight. Oh, Zetterlund. There you go. You were talking about Zetterlund earlier. It's dash 4.
How many Leafs fans are like foaming at the mouth that Marner's on the team and probably going to play with McDavid?
Oh yeah, obviously. It's like
so fun.
It's also funny. Like I never know. Oh, it's 5-0 after the first period. That's good. It's always funny. It's like he does something good, and there will always it'll be like whatever, like the team account post they scored a goal and it's like a sick goal, highlight reel, whatever, and you will have like 400 Leafs fans be like, just a reminder though, he's a bitch. It's like, oh, all right.
I love too that the picture that I got on my article, the one that's like Canada announces Four Nations roster, snub, surprises, and expectations. It's a close up of Marner making the weirdest face.
Yeah, of course. Well, you see the kid in
here. Let me see if I can share it with you. Present, share screen. Okay, here it is. I can't really zoom in, but and I gotta get rid of the overlay.
Oh hell yeah.
That's such a good picture. Like, why is that the picture? Now, as we transition though out of Canada, I have to point out here that of course Russo made this happen. The one for USA.
Oh yeah. Needed.
Boldy Faber, here we go. Also, shout out Waggle Golf, crushing it, getting the 1980 Miracle Group to do a collaboration on a ton of apparel that they dropped. And of course, Faber and Boldy were already the poster children. I can't believe I said childs. and models for the new apparel. But all right, Z, let's talk USA because people are big mad. People are big mad.
Well, so this is what I was gonna say, right? Like, I feel like looking at the roster that they built, looking at this team, they are the favorites. I mean, like, this
running
lineup,
away, dude, running
they
away.
are
Favorites.
It is insane how
it's
absolutely loaded, and yet
does that
this is the
you,
one.
Does that worry you? USA has the expectations now.
It always will. It always will. Yeah, but like, and this is the team that has the most players on the roster that you're like, what the fuck, and B, omissions that you're like, how is that humanly possible that this guy did? Like, it's the team with the most objections and yet a firm favorite still, which is nuts. This is the golden era of USA hockey.
So let's talk about it. First and foremost, there are people that are mad about Matt Boldy being on the team, period.
Well, they're stupid.
I'll defend the stupid people, though. Like, if you're a casual hockey fan that only watches the Wild occasionally, like, there are games where you can watch and I'd understand your anger and confusion because a lot of the great things that Boldy does don't really stand out, right? Like, you can't really appreciate it if you're just like casually tuning in. The dude's on a fucking heater. He's putting up points and he is playing an incredibly responsible two-way game. He can play both wings, and the line that he's projected to be on, Eichel, Gensel, and Boldy, is the greatest line that's ever been assembled in American history. I'm so excited for it.
Yeah.
That's like such a fun line. And that's their second line, by the way.
Right. Well, it's also funny, like, the first person that I always think about whenever it's like you talk about NHL fans' thoughts about the Minnesota Wild or whatever is Blackburn. And he put out such a funny.
Why would you think that?
Did you see the tweet he put out a couple days ago? Not only am I being forced to thoroughly respect the Minnesota Wild, I'm being forced to thoroughly enjoy them. This is uncharted territory, to say the least.
Right.
I read that. I was like, ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Now we need to get him on the podcast. Do a little therapy session.
But like the thing with, like you said though, like Matt Boldy, a lot of what he does, even as he's having this ridiculous season where he's made plenty of plays that do stand out, but like the two-way play, the subtleties are a big component of why he is as good as he is. Which, when you think about what we were talking about with like Team Canada's like D and like leaving out a guy like Bouchard, it's like, well, you actually can't, like, you have to like think about building an actual roster. Everything Matt Boldy does makes him an ideal pick for any of these tournaments where it's like you could literally put him anywhere in your lineup and he'll be fine. He's going to be a big impact player for you, lines 1 through 4. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, even strength, penalty kill, power play, like, doesn't matter. So like realistically, if people are going to be up in arms about that selection specifically, like, again, like, yeah, sure, maybe when you consider some of the omissions, like highlight real stuff, sure, but he is someone that like is, again, like the perfect player to have at an event like this where it's like he can fluctuate all 4 lines.
You know what's crazy too? The third line still like gets me to feel things that I never thought I'd feel.
So that was one that I thought was interesting.
And maybe yours looks different. Tell me if yours.
No, I pulled up the same article. I pulled up yours.
Okay. Jack Hughes centering Brady Tkachuk and JT Miller. That's the cocaine line.
It's scary.
Which like Brady Tkachuk and JT Miller are all-time gamers who are going to go out there and want to murder people, and Jack Hughes is just going to do his thing and go out there and embarrass goalies.
Is JT Miller, is he playing yet though?
He'll be back by then.
Yeah, that's true. I guess what is this, February? Okay, yeah. I keep thinking, yeah.
This doesn't
the rosters out. I keep thinking about like
they announced the rosters a week before it starts.
It's nuts. Yeah.
But do you think they overthought the fourth line at all?
A little bit, probably. I mean, especially when you just consider how many of those players that they already had in the top 9 or whatever that can give you that two-way player or whatever. Yeah, bringing Kreider, Trocheck, and Nelson feels specifically bringing, honestly, like Trocheck and Nelson feels so repetitive to me.
I think Trocheck or Kreider will end up being the extra, though, more than likely.
Mhm.
Like, it's going to be Larkin, Nelson, and one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say, like, I thought Nelson would be there regardless, but I also think, like, getting him deployed, and if he does his thing, like, we're signing up for Nelson being Guerin's target. He is, as we mentioned earlier in the show, he is the redundancy for Ek. He is Joel Eriksson Ek. He is. They are very comparable players, and I think he makes a ton of sense for the fourth line, regardless of how the team has been. Kreider and Trocheck are more interesting, and Vinny Trocheck, like he's a versatile guy. Like he's a great penalty killer. He can give you a lot of things, but people are big mad, which is funny because that's either very fitting or like a complete opposite.
Literally, the three players I have in mind. Yeah.
I have two. So Tage Thompson and Cole Caufield are having frickin' years, and they're both left off. I'm going to be one of the rare people that supports it because it's not even a matter of like, oh, can you kill penalties, do this or that. You're not going to bring those two guys in and have them play 12 fucking minutes.
Right.
Right? Like that is what the fourth line is going to be in a Bill Guerin built USA team. You don't want them for that kind of role because they aren't the like Energizer bunnies. They're not like, they can't play in that kind of scenario. These are guys that need their minutes and their touches or they're not going to be good. Now, if you want to argue that they should be in over one of the guys in the top 9, then I'll hear your argument, which everyone wants to say it's Matt Boldy who should be out, which shut up. You're all dumb. And I was once dumb. I was mad that Paul Fenton took Boldy because I wanted Cole Caufield. I did. I wanted Cole Caufield in that draft. And I've many times recanted that, which Cole Caufield's still sick, but he's not Matt Boldy. I don't know. So Tage Thompson, tough. Cole Caufield, tough. Who's your third guy that I missed?
The one that like, for whatever reason, like immediately when I saw the roster, I was like, no Clayton Keller. That feels weird. But then I remembered like Jason Robertson. Sorry,
J-Rob hasn't been as good this year.
Yeah, no, he's had a down year for sure. And I mean, even someone like with how good of a year he's having in Winnipeg, like Neil Pionk, but I mean that's a defenseman, I guess.
Yeah, there was no room on the defense. Honestly,
that's
like
the thing.
him and Carlson were redundancies. The one that should have been, and I'm sure
Brock Besser, maybe.
Oh no, Brock Besser will not sign with the Wild this summer.
Oh yeah,
it's not happening now. He's out.
Mm-hmm.
The one though that on the blue line, there's a guy that you more than me should be concerned wasn't included, but I think Jake Sanderson should have been.
Sanderson was that was the one I was thinking.
Kind of for the same reason I talked about earlier with like the Eklund Zetterlund thing, right? Like Jake Sanderson is going to be a Team USA staple. He will probably be on the Olympic team. Why not get him in there and get him his licks right now, right? Even if he's your seventh defenseman, like it just makes sense to me.
Yeah, and I'd have to pull up like the numbers or whatever, but like I would take him over like Hannafin.
Agreed.
It's hard to argue the other ones. Like
it is.
That's how loaded this fucking roster is.
No, I agree.
But I mean, if there was one D-man that I would feel comfortable replacing with like someone like Sanderson, it would be Hanford. But yeah, I mean, either way, it's this decor like Quinn Hughes, Charlie McAvoy, Jacob Slavin, Adam Fox, Zach Werenski, Brock Faber. That is outrageous. Like, it is insane.
Basically, the only reason that Canada's not blown out of the water is because Cale Makar exists.
Yeah.
Who I will still maintain is the best player in the NHL, but I
gotta pull up.
How the hell did Swayman make this roster? What a bomb!
He's been bad this year. Like it's been.
I mean, I'm more tongue in cheek, but yes,
it's been bad. Oh yeah, no, fucking Makar's 32 points in 26. Like he is a fucking alien.
He is the best player in the NHL.
He's crazy, dude.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this is a stupid lineup. Hellebuck in net. Good luck. The blue line you've got in front of him. How are ya? And we didn't even talk about the first line of Matthews, Connor, and Kachuk. What do you do against that?
And the fact that we finally get to watch both Kachuk brothers in the same team. I need a few shifts on the ice.
No, I need them to be a PK unit.
If they like start competing, who can do the craziest shit in one shift? Like they like, I honestly picture.
No,
Brady Kachuk should be so happy. Brady Kachuk should be so happy to be on like a loaded fucking team. By the way,
yeah.
But like, you know, he's gonna like. I feel like him or Matthew, one of them might actually just bring out a sword instead of a fucking hockey stick. Like, these guys are fucking crazy.
I need full D3 Mighty Ducks. I need both of them going to the penalty box together and doing like the strip dance. My question is, and this is a tough one, I'm putting you on the spot. We need to fully encompass the full vibe here. Who is their Kenny Wu? Who is their like third wingman guy? But they've got to like encompass like the weird dynamic of having Kenny Wu be their next guy. Like, who fits that? Like
JT Miller?
No, because JT Miller is a fucking monster.
That's
like, I'm thinking it's like Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes is like my little baby Kenny Wu.
He's a psycho too.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the stature, you know?
Right.
All right, Brock Faber.
First wild fight of the year was Brock Faber, which is
that's true. I got to take that back now.
Which was so crazy.
First fight of the year. That's crazy, dude. There's a lot. Oh nope. I take it back. It's not Jack Hughes. It's Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes fits it well. His wires don't cross.
Mm-hmm. That's
now,
true.
How
well,
does
you know what? Actually, and again, he probably might play one game, but this guy has been itching to fight someone for the last 2 years. Jeremy Swayman has been such a little fucking rat on the ice. It's so funny. Like, I mean, like, anytime someone has lightly grazed him, still with a smile on his face because he's a lunatic, he's been just fucking like going off. Yeah. And then he will look at the other goalie and just go with his glove face, like, let's fucking go. And dude, no one's taking him up on it yet. It's so funny, dude.
Are we going to get a goalie hug? USA, Sweden?
Oh, yeah. Anytime they'll do it.
But yeah, this is like, I understand, like, if you're a Sabres fan or a Canadiens fan, which I guess if you're a Canadiens fan, why would you want him on Team USA? Like, the same reason, like, yeah, I want Riley Heidt to play World Juniors because it'll be fun to watch him, but like, I don't want to help Canada.
Yeah.
Same deal with Matthew Wood. Like, I don't want him on Team Canada.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay. Man, it's go off Billy G. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, okay.
It is really annoying, especially given that Marty Necas is having that we don't have Team Czechia, by the way. Like, I really him and Pasternak. It's going to be
a ton of guys you can mention that should be on all these other teams. I mean, don't even get started on Russia. Like, holy crap. Their blue line would be a.
By the way, Ovechkin's already flying around the ice, by the way, in practice. He
might be back.
He is. I don't understand how this is the first time he's had a big injury.
Gas.
And he's already at, what is he, 39? 37? Like, I don't even know.
Russian gas.
Like, he is just like looking whatever. He, like, I don't know how the build with his age and how he plays. It's insane that he's never before now had like a big injury, and he's all like, I mean, he's significantly ahead of schedule as far as like just his skating and mobility goes. Like, I don't understand, dude. Russian machine no break though. So there you go.